Hi, a very good evening, everyone, and a very big welcome to all who are joining us tonight. My name is Ruth, and I'm your MC for tonight. And together with us, we want to welcome our speaker, Ms. Silfans, as well as our moderator, Mr. eLawyer. We are also very surprisingly happy to have a federal court judge with us today, YA Dato Mary Lim Tiam Suan, who is also joining us. So YA Dato Mary, it is a pleasure to have you with us today. All right, so before we start, we would actually like to know our audience a little better first so that our speaker can share content that is more suited to all of you. So to do this, can I invite all of you to let us know your background and where you're currently at? So for example, I'm a lawyer from Klang, for example. So I should type in the comments, lawyer from Klang. So is it okay if all of you right now, if you are in Zoom, then you type in the Zoom comments, or if you are watching via Facebook Live, then you type in the Facebook comment section. What are you doing right now? Maybe you're a student. You can also write that you're a student and where are you from, so that we know where are we having all of you from. So I'll give you a little bit of time. Can I have all of you just to very quickly, just type your comments and let us know what are you doing right now and where you are. Hi, we have Siti and you're practicing law. Great, awesome. Can I have the rest of you also type for everyone? Hi, Yasmin. Great, you're from PJ. The rest of you? Great to have you all with us. Hope that today will be a very productive session for all of you. Let's just wait for the rest of you to very quickly key in where are you from, and perhaps from that, then our speaker will know how to address you guys. And hopefully whatever she shares will be very much for your benefit today. Hi, Dr. Mary Lim, very glad to have you with us. Very good to see people from everywhere, from different companies, even from Beijing. Wow. Hi, good to have you. We even have people from outside Malaysia. Amazing. And from Penang, so far away. And Japan, wow, amazing. All of you from different parts of the world, even different parts of Malaysia. So glad to have all of you with us. All right, so continue typing. Our speaker will be able to read from the comments where are you from. And so even if I'm introducing other things, it's okay, just continue to put in the comments where are you from and what are you doing right now. All right, amazing. Okay, so I will continue on a bit of a briefing first before we begin. So we are expecting this to be a very interactive session. So we hope that all of you will be able to put in your questions from time to time. Feel free to do so, and don't feel that you're interrupting, because I will be compiling your questions for the speaker. So to ask questions, if you are in the Zoom platform, you can just drop your questions in the chat box. And if you're from FB, Facebook, you can just drop your questions in the comment section. I will also be able to see it from there. So at the end of the webinar, before the question and answer section, we hope to have a group photo for all of us who are attending Zoom. So we will hope that you'll be ready and presentable to on your camera just for a little while before the Q&A section, so that we can have a short photo session to make tonight very memorable. Right. So today's webinar is hosted by eLawyer Recruitment. eLawyer is a recruitment firm focused on law-related industries. eLawyer started in 2008 by Mr. Eddie, who is over here, and it has over 10,000 registered lawyer members, job seekers, and has served more than 700 law firms and large corporations. I would also like all of you and encourage all of you very much to like the eLawyer Facebook page so that you can stay updated about the latest legal jobs available and other similar webinar sessions like this. Today's session is called How to Chart Your Legal Career on an International Platform. This is part of eLawyer's Career and Legal Business Talk series that aims to empower lawyers and future lawyers as well in their career as well as legal business. So just as a recap, Earlier in this series, a few months ago, we had a live mock interview and as well as a webinar on navigating challenges as an in-house counsel, as well as one on effective law firm branding. So this is just a bit of a recap of what this series has done. So today, we are very happy and privileged to have with us Ms. Song Siew Fans, the head of Global Business Services Legal, Middle East and Asia at Schlumberger, as our honored speaker. So she is currently leading a team of 30 legal, corporate, and contracts professionals in Schlumberger's Middle East and Asia Legal Support Center, and is constantly looking for more exciting opportunities for personal growth. She is also passionate about identifying and developing talent, which is great that all of you are here today to tap from her experience. So we are also privileged to have with us Mr. Eddie Law as our moderator. He was the founder of eLawyer, and he is also a certified coach and is a registered member of the Malaysia Association of Certified Coach, MECC. Eddie is passionate about legal career coaching, leadership, and business coaching for lawyers. So without further ado, we shall begin the session and I shall pass the floor to our moderator, Eddie.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you for your introductions. Welcome everyone on behalf of eLawyer. I welcome everyone again, and especially Siew Fan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So I know Siew Fan for a few years when she was transferred to work in the KL office by Schlumberger. And during our times, we talked about young lawyers, we talk about career for lawyers, and we find a lot of common thing among us. I think the very obvious common thing that Siew Fan, I think you will agree that we both are very passionate and to help Malaysia lawyers or young lawyers in their career, in their legal career. So we have been having this thought to do this thing, and today I'm very happy that this eventually materialized. Thank you so much, Ivan.
Thanks, Eddie.
So okay, so maybe Siew Fan could introduce yourself, tell us a bit about your background, where were you from, you know, how you began your career. Yeah, just give us some background about yourself.
Yep, sure. Thanks, Eddie. First of all, thank you so much, Eddie, for making this happen. I know the last time we spoke about this, we wanted to do this like 18 months ago, but last year was super challenging year for everyone, including myself, professionally and personally. So it's great that finally we got it done, and I think we are slowly recovering from and with a lot of positivity. I think this is an excellent timing that we are talking to everyone again. I guess first of all, I must acknowledge and recognize my team who are on this call. They have gone through a very interesting journey with me in the last 18 months as I resume this role in KL. We have excellent talent in my team, and I want to thank you them. So yes, about myself, Eddie. Not that you do not know already. So yeah, I'm from Malacca, a small town called Sungai Udang. Very close knitted small town that I guess when I was in primary school, when I finished school, I come back, the bus stop to my place will only take like, it will only be 200 meters, but it will take me half an hour because I have to greet every uncle and auntie along the way to say, hello, I'm coming from back to school. And so since young, I talk a lot and it's difficult to stop since then. So from after primary school, I went to Pei Fong Independent Chinese School. So I'm a Du Zhongsheng in Chinese. So after Pei Fong, I went to KDU, twinning program to University of Tasmania. So that was in 2001. So just like everyone else, after I finished my law degree, I got called to the bar, did my chambering and spent about maybe 5-6 years working in law firms in Malaysia. So jumping from practices to practices, looking for where I would belong. And subsequently, I moved to Australia and work in a law firm again, starting from scratch as a paralegal, then all the way to the senior associate. And I think my first in-house experience was joining Glencore Xstrata, a mining company. That time it was a interesting career decision because I was already a senior associate in a Sydney law firm, but the job that I was offered was contract advisor in Glencore Xstrata. So many people around me would say that that is a backward career move, but I was adamant that joining that company is the right decision, irrespective of what position it was. I think that is probably the best decision I've made in my career. So I joined the mining company. I enjoy very much walking around in an open cut mine safely with my steel cap boots, with my hard hat, trying to understand how do you, mine and process the mineral all the way to cathode and anode. So that very quickly, because of my passion and I show a lot of interest in the business, within half a year, I became contract manager. Then another opportunity came on my door. I think that is another story will take 2 days, but eventually I joined Schlumberger. I guess I always joke about this with my Schlumberger colleague. When I was headhunted, I felt like they were looking for me exactly. So they were looking for someone who had mining experience. They were looking for someone who knows contracts and Australian qualified. And they actually strangely wanted a Malaysian as well, who is multilingual and can speak Chinese. So I was like, hey, that advertisement was looking exactly for me. How can I not respond to it? So there goes. So I've been with Schlumberger for 7.5 years now, enjoying every moment. I started off as their Australian legal counsel in Australia. And subsequently, I was promoted to be a senior legal counsel in looking after Far East Asia and Australia. So that was in Jakarta. And 18 months ago, I got moved back to my home and looking after this legal support center. I hope that answers the question, Eddie.
Okay, great. And I understand that you are managing a team of 30 lawyers at the moment.
Yes, 32 this morning.
Oh, wow. Okay, okay. Your team is expanding. And can you briefly give us an insight as to what are your role now in your current job?
Yes, so Schlumberger globally, we have 3 legal support center. And here I'm heading what we call GBS, Global Business Services Legal. And we provide full range legal services to the Middle East and Asia businesses, and full range services meaning legal advice, contracts, and corporate secretarial services. So that will be the scope of the LSC. My role, I guess I do spend a lot of my time in attracting and retaining the amazing talents that we have in Malaysia. And I would also spend a lot of time doing stakeholder management, engagement, because we are managing about 32, 33 countries in the region. So understanding their needs, matching the service that we could provide, and make sure that it's best in class for the business so that the business can do what they excel in. I would say that will be the 2 main things that I do every day. Okay.
So it was quite inspiring to hear where you started and progress to where you are now. You say you came from a very small town. I don't know, you would call it town or village, okay? A small place, I call it a small place. Then later on, you went through the normal, typical education system that every Malaysians will go through. And you start your career as any lawyer. But during my my years of recruitment experience, talk to various lawyers, I could see that some people after a certain year they have reached a certain level, but some people who still stagnant. So can you share with us what differentiate you from your peers, or from what is your so-called success secret that you can share with us?
Yeah, I guess yeah, as a humble Asian, I would not yeah, I'll take it, and I guess we tend to answer it to say that, hey, there must be an element of luck. But I guess I want to talk about the element of luck come in many forms. And sometimes, and most of the time, actually, if you are good in mathematics, I know I'm not because I'm a lawyer. But if you're good in mathematics, the probability of striking a lottery is pretty low. So when we talk about element of luck can come in a form of opportunities. The element of luck can come in a form of more work, and it can come in bigger projects. Yeah. So I think one of my career mentor once told me that, hey, Sylvan, why do you know why you are here and we chose you to do this role or that role? Is that whenever opportunities knock on your door, you recognize it. You recognize it and you seize it and you grab it and you run with it. So I think that is maybe one thing that I constantly do, and I don't think I'll stop doing. The other thing, I guess if I recall the defining moment in my life when I make conscious decision about my career was maybe sometime when I was in my mid-20s.
Mhm.
One day, I don't know, I can't remember the weather, but I remember vividly on that day that my father asked me this question, and he asked in Chinese. I would say in Chinese, but I'll translate in English, right? So he asked me, 你要做在小寺庙做大和尚，还是在大寺庙做小和尚？ Which means, do you want to be a big fish in a small fish tank, or do you want to be a small fish in a big fish tank? So it sounded so, I mean, it didn't sound a lot, but over the years, whenever I think of these things that he said, it's getting more and more profound, right? But that moment when he asked me this question, I was like, okay. I think at that point of my career, I probably was a medium-sized fish in a medium-sized tank. And I just felt that, hey, you know, I really want to keep growing mentally, maybe not so much on size, but mentally definitely, and learning curve. But should I go and explore whether there is a bigger fish tank out there? Yeah. So I think since then, I then constantly just looking for my tank. And I guess, yeah, I think that it was the defining moment. Every time I change job, that would be the question I ask to myself, whether this environment going to be a bigger fish tank for me. And I want to say that currently, every day I'm enjoying going to work because I felt like this is the Great Barrier Reef. I feel like a very small fish every day, but every day when I'm swimming, I see different kind of creatures. I see very colorful thought process, very diverse environment. So I think, yeah, that makes me happy.
Definitely, your current company is not a fish tank. It is the ocean, very big, very
Yes.
big. Well, so you were saying that what differentiate you is first you always recognize the opportunity, and you grab it and you work so hard on it until you get it. So that's what I draw from your sharing. Second thing is you always had the desire to do better every day, to do better than yourself, to do better than yesterday's you found. So yes, I totally agree. If someone put their mind and focus into their career, and they will go. And if someone just take their job lightly, not seriously, the result will tell. Yeah.
Yeah, I think to me it's very much of, I mean, if you were to ask me what do I want in my life, over the years, of course, it get defined and refined, and it changes from time to time. But there's one thing that doesn't change is that I'm very curious about my potential. And I felt like sometimes I keep surprising myself. Hey, I didn't know that I could order something on Shopee, and today I could. And hey, I didn't know that I could do a webinar with Eddie, and now today I could. So I think that learning process gives me a lot of fulfillment in life, and yeah, I guess that is what makes me happy.
Yeah. So come back to your daily job, since you are a so-called senior lawyer that interact with lawyers from different countries. Can you share with us what difference do you see lawyer from different countries, especially if you compare Malaysian lawyer? Yeah, can you share with us on that?
Yeah, for sure. I think I want to say that we have a lot of talents in Malaysia. I mean, the straightforward one is most of us are multilingual. We can speak most of the languages in the Asian countries, and I think that is a very, very powerful tool and powerful skill. So yeah, don't stop there, keep going. And I think we are also very resourceful. I think that is a reflection of the life that we have to go through every day. Like if you cannot have nasi lemak, you'll find nasi lemak cake, right? So I think extremely resourceful and solution orientated. And we are go-getter. I think when something needed to be resolved, there's a problem, we always have the solution. There's always, I don't know what's the saying, like there's always a lobang. You know, there's always a lobang, and there's always a way. Whenever we do, there's always a way in Malaysia, and I think that is the strength that we have, I think.
And what are other strengths that you see maybe lawyers from other countries they have, and maybe for us we are a bit lacking, or we are not realizing our own blind spot?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I think I wouldn't want to say it's not our strength, but I think maybe what we could do better is on our willingness to speak up. I think culturally we are rather shy, which is good in some occasion, but perhaps that's something that we can work on. I always encourage people around me to think from a different perspective. It's not about you speaking up. It's about perhaps the world wants to hear your idea. Because imagine, I mean, have you thought about maybe because you represent, whether you like it or not, your existence represents a community. Your existence represents a group of people. And if you do not speak up, then the world doesn't get to hear your opinion. And maybe your opinion is brilliant. So why discount yourself and be discouraged by just being hesitant in speaking up? So I think that's something that I would totally encourage Malaysian lawyers to do more. And it doesn't have to be a big change in your life or career life. You can do it in a baby step. There's so many social media now, LinkedIn, Clubhouse, webinar, or when in your company there is a webcast, ask the questions. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable asking a question by switching on a video, then ask the question in a chat box. But I think there's a need to be heard, and there's a need to express what you think.
Yeah, I think the courage of speaking out and the maturity of not judging ourselves or be too harsh on ourselves, I think that's very important to encourage us to speak out. Yeah, I think this is, like you say, it's a culture thing. When we are small at home, our parents say you listened. You just listened. When we go to school, our teacher said, "Diam, just listen." So when we come back home, our parents say, "Do you make noise in your class?" Oh no, good boy, good boy. You keep quiet, you listen, very good. But this is totally different when it comes to how Jewish brought up their children. They are encouraged to ask questions in school, and if they come back, the mother first thing asks is not whether you listened, is do you ask questions? Because asking questions meaning someone is focusing and thinking. So that's how Jewish brought up their children, and obviously they are one of the athletes that won the most Nobel prizes in the world. So yeah, you're right. I think our culture is very different. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe think about letting other people have a chance to learn from you. Maybe that is one way of thinking as well. You never know. I mean, maybe in the room of 100 people, your question would have opened up another way of solving the problem. And maybe the world is waiting for your question. The world is waiting for the solution that you have. And don't discount yourself.
Wow, the world is waiting for your questions. Sound like Steve Jobs. Okay, great. Okay, come back to our questions. What are the differences that you see for a lawyer who assume a local role and a regional role? Yeah, maybe just a quick answer on that.
Right. Local role, I guess. I'm just going to imagine, I guess, if you are doing a local role where your businesses focuses on Malaysia business, then I would think that maybe the law that that you apply your knowledge or you apply your solution on will be Malaysian law. Therefore, it would be, if we're Malaysian qualified lawyer, then you would probably have the knowledge and technical knowledge yourself. But if you are in a regional role, it is quite impossible that you are admitted to 35 countries, like in my role. And therefore, it is impossible for me, even I'm admitted to 35, it's impossible for me to have so much of knowledge. So I guess collaboration is important, and being able to work with people, being able to, speak with people from different countries, cultural background, belief, professionally, and be a team player, right? So I think in a regional role, you do rely on a lot of people, not just yourself, because you yourself cannot solve all the problems in all the 35 countries that you work in. Yeah, I think that's what I can think of immediately, Eddie.
Yeah, so you're saying the interaction skill must be more sophisticated when someone works in regional role, because in the local role, we are communicating with one nation, but in the national global role or regional role, we are communicating with people from different nations. So the interpersonal skill is highly important. Yeah. Okay, great. What are the differences working for a local company or an MNC?
Right. I never work in a local in-house position, so but I guess very similarly, I think like the last questions, if your local business, local company have a specific focus, then I guess you can be very focused on providing the solutions to the business. Yeah. Well, if you are working in an international company, or if your solution need to suit international platform, then you would probably need to be thinking more internationally, finding a solution that would suit more market, I guess. Therefore, your knowledge base, and we talk about the interaction skill, have to be on at that level. But when we talk about company, Eddie, I want to take the opportunity to bring up one point which sometimes I discuss with friends and colleagues, that I think local company or MNC, it is more important that when we look for job as in-house counsel, you look for a company where the values matches with yours. And for myself, it is so much easier to be working in a company and having conversations when my company has very strong integrity culture. Because I believe that, whether we're in-house, private practice, small, big MNC companies, we are still the officer of the court. And I think we still play a significant part in the administration of justice. So it will simply, because I often have some colleagues tell me that, hey, my CEO asked me to do this, my boss asked me to do this, but it does clash with my personal belief of integrity. And it will be so much easier if that doesn't happen, where you don't have to make the choice.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. When we were young, when we got to the bar, so we were always told that being a lawyer is not just a job, it's a calling. That's why no professions is called to do something, but we are called to the bar. We are called. So calling, being a lawyer is a calling. And we were told that we need to, the calling is to uphold justice, and it's to uphold justice and fight for fairness, fight for justice. So when going in-house, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think a lawyer role is like a counsel. A counsel is a trusted advisor. So if the lawyer but himself, it's not, doesn't have integrity or have very little integrity, then that role itself is meaningless, because the purpose of a company to hire a lawyer is to safeguard the interest of the company and not to do something wrong. And I think lawyer is like a gatekeeper. Did you agree with me on that?
Yes, I agree. Yes, we are trusted advisors, we're gatekeeper, but we are also facilitator. And most of the time, the business will appreciate us more when we are facilitator. And I love to be a facilitator every day, but I will still, I think the facilitator of making business happen still need to be on a very clear conscience. We do what is right, we do not do what is the easiest. I think that is very important. And I would, to me, whenever young lawyers come and talk to me and say, hey, what sort of company should I join? So and so forth. I always go back to them and say, what sort of environment can you work in? And what sort of, what is the purpose of you looking for that role? See, I think personally, when I look for a job, I mean, in the past, that is a critical factor for me. And not that I'm looking for a job now, but then in future that will continue to be a critical factor, because it simply make your conversations with your businesses so much easier, because everyone is on the same page that we are going to do what is right and not going to do what is simply the easiest.
Great. So now let's give some young advice to young lawyers. So what would be your advice to young ambitious lawyers? Because I always had this lawyer come to me, Eddie, do you have job overseas? Do you have job in MNC? A very young, energetic, ambitious lawyer, very smart lawyer, who is very eager to build a legal career on international platform. How could they go about it? We have heard your story, but since you are in the circle, you're on an international platform, can you give some advice as to how a Malaysian lawyer could go about it?
Right. How do you go about it? I think, first of all, the question to yourself is, why do you want to go to MNC? Why do you want to go international? I think it will be, I think first of all, you need to ask yourself that question very honestly. if you're talking about, if you're making assumption that MNC pays more, or going outside of Malaysia will get you better financial rewards. I hate to break the news that not all is
Or is it?
I don't know. I do not know. Or at least there will be a period of time that you need to work very hard to get where you want to get to. Right. So I think the hard work part, I know it's getting old, this story, but I don't think it is replaceable. I do not know whether you agree, Eddie. I personally have not experienced getting reward by going through shortcuts or by having afternoon nap. I mean, if anyone has experienced that, I would like to learn. So yeah, back to the advice to young lawyers. I think if you want to go international, then you have to prepare yourself internationally. That means read internationally, concerned with the affairs that is on international news, maybe not just on the Malacca news, maybe a bit more on the international news. And when you strike through your social media, you have to be conscious about this time you spend on your free time, because especially nowadays, we have so much information hitting on us all the time. Are you able to, what are you doing with this information? Are you are you productive with the information intake? Are you really absorbing information that you should be absorbing? I think you had to be disciplined about all these steps. I guess then start trying, and don't stop trying. I think that is also key. Personally, I took that backward move. Many people disagree at that point in time, but I was adamant, I was stubborn, you can call me that, and I wanted to do that, and I did that. And because it was not about the compensation, it was not about the title, it was not about even the place. It was about that company, the learning opportunities I will get.
Yeah, so when you say trying, keep trying, that trigger me to think that, okay, so now I want to work in an international company. So I sent my resume and I luckily got shortlisted. And can you help us to overcome the first hurdle, which is how do they do well in the interview? So I understand you interview a lot of lawyer who wanted to get into your organization, and can you give us maybe 2 or 3 things that is your insight, why you pick certain person, why you do not go for certain person? I think that would be very helpful for a lawyer to start their job. Very practical advice.
No, I think fair enough. That's a good question, Eddie. So prepare. I know, again, this is I'm sure you heard about these 10,000 times, but I think the self-belief is important. If as a hiring manager, if I invest my time shortlisting you and calling you and asking you to attend an interview with me, there must be something that I see in you. So you need to know what is it, but if you do not know, you need to ask the questions. So I think that should give you the confidence that if you get an interview, there must be something right about your resume. But I guess Eddie can give, I think Eddie has a coaching session before about how to write a good resume. I think I don't need to talk about that. We can watch Eddie's previous webinar. And when you go to the interview, you really need to prepare. Unfortunately, I still come across candidates who will attend the interview, but still does not know what does Schlumberger do. So you have given me no choice but to reject you. I would have, I think it's also a bit of, I call it a respect for each other's time. If you decide to come for an interview for an hour with me and I decide to invest my 1 hour with you, I would like it to be a conversation about you. What are your interests? What is your purpose in life? Why are you wanting to come for this interview? And what is your long-term vision of your career path? And why did you choose to come and see me? I think you can and you have to prepare for these questions. And if Eddie allowed me, I'll give you interview tips that I use in all my interviews when I was looking for a job, and so far it works. I always end my interview with the hiring manager who is interviewing me as a candidate. I always ask them, so what do you see in me that compel you to call me for this interview? I think that tip, it works for me because it does tell you why the company saw something in you, and it also reinforces the belief into the hiring manager's mind. Yeah.
So hypnosis.
he or she get reminded of, hey, why did I call you fun? Because she smiles all the time. She's very happy. She's very positive. And do I want someone like that in the company? Yes, I want. And I just got reminded again today. And always follow up with an email after interview. And that's what I religiously do when I was looking for a job. Follow up and anything, because an interview is a very short 1 hour, 1.5 hours. And there's no way you could tell the hiring manager everything in your life, or maybe you're nervous, so you miss 1 or 2 points. But the email, you can take, I don't know, another 1.5 hours to craft your best ever email and click send. So whether they like it or not, they're going to read it. And they cannot unheard what they have seen, you know. So I think those are the 2 things. Yeah, prepare and have the self-confidence, the self-belief, and know what you are good at, and emphasize that, and reinforce them in their mind, and follow up with the email.
Wow, this looks like a sales pitch. Very sophisticated sales pitch. I'm just kidding.
I hope it works. I hope it works. But you know, Eddie, in future, when I look for candidates, if they come to me and ask me their questions, I will know they attended this webinar. Which is a good thing, which is plus point. If they can, you know, log in at 8 o'clock, 9:30, they must care about their career.
True, yeah. So one thing I pick up from your sharing, very interesting, which is to have a conversation in the interview. So you know the worst case scenario for an interview, or the normal scenario for interview is a real interview. Like, I ask you a question, you answer, ask you a question, then you answer.
Yeah.
It's like one-way traffic. It's like asking a robot and the robot just give a robotic answer. Well, that sort of interview doesn't go far. But if someone managed to turn the interview into conversation, then the whole ambience is very different. And how to do that, like exactly what you say, be prepared. Yeah. If you do not know the interviewer, or you do not know the company, or how can you hold a conversation? You can't hold any conversations if you don't know much about things that's in common, or you know, anything else. Yeah, I like it. Make the interview into a conversation.
I agree, Eddie. I think excellent point. You know, this interview is also your chance as a candidate to see whether this is a place that you want to spend 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours in, day out for, I don't know, a couple of years. And for me, likewise, as a hiring manager, I want someone who I can, you know, talk to, and have a conversation with tomorrow, day after, every day. So if at the interview, I can't even have a conversation with you, how assuring am I that I can have a conversation with you when you join me? So yeah, I think yes, excellent points that you pick up there, Eddie.
Okay, great. So let's say, wow, okay, I managed to hold a very good conversation during interview. I got hired by Sylvan. Yeah, I come in at the number 33 lawyers now. Okay, then I work very hard, as what Sylvan say. I just work hard, passionate about my job. You know, after 1-2 years, the company wanting to promote someone among this pool of lawyers. So what are the top, 2 or 3 quality that you want to see that in the lawyer that you want to promote?
Right. I think, yeah, there's so many answers to these questions, but Eddie, I guess we are talking about climbing the corporate ladder. So think of the forward climbing the corporate ladder. What do you need to do? I mean, literally, when you're climbing the ladder, you need the energy, because literally, when you're climbing a ladder, you need to have energy to climb. It is an action. And so bring your energy, right? And climbing the ladder is an upward move. That means you need to have a vision. Where are you climbing upwards to? Where do you want to go? Right? And climbing the ladder, I do not know, and unless you know where is the end of the ladder, is a constant action. So I think when you get into a MNC or get into the company that you have been aspiring to join, it's not a destination. And it's not as if you got there and that's the end. And that's the end. That is the I'm here. I'm here. I'm there. No, I think that is the start. That is the start where you need to start thinking about how you fit in. So your self-awareness, what you're good at, what you need to improve on to be better. Then maybe the second portion is your situational awareness, knowing your environment, what is around you, what is needed for you to become the lawyer of the future, and whether that fits into the company vision. So I do not know whether that answers the question, Eddie, but if I were to promote someone, I think that was the question, right? I would be looking for people who are curious, because I think curiosity drives a lot of behavior. If you're curious about how things work, you will find out how things work. And the curiosity will then drive better performance, drive better knowledge gain. And I think visibility and your visibility and you climbing the corporate ladder and the title, the position, the compensation, those are the byproducts of your curiosity. Yeah. And maybe the second element would be adaptability. Because in the world that we are currently in, things change very frequently and very rapidly. And you need to always position yourself. I mean, it's the same thing, right? Self-awareness, situation awareness. When the situation change, you change, and you always matches. And you it's a flowing. It's like water. you have to keep flowing, and you cannot be complacent, I guess.
Okay, wow. It's such a insightful tips. So let me sum up in inside acronym. It could be like EUCRCVA. E stand for energy, U stand for outwards, C stand for constant action, R stand for reflections. You need to reflect about your current, about your situation, about your context, about yourself, area to improve. And C stand for curiosity. You need to be always curious. And V stand for visibility. As you always say, we being Asian, we are very shy. We don't like spotlight. We don't like visibility. And the last one is adaptability. Yeah, EUCRCVA. And you know, when you climb the ladder, first of all, you say, wow, this ladder is very, very tall. So we need energy. Energy, the first one, energy. Then the ladder is outwards. Okay, I go outwards. Then after that, continuing action, keep climbing, and I reflect to see the view, and curious what is up there. So I keep climbing, and then you'll be visible, and you adapt to where you are.
Yeah, and like Eddie, being able to capture all of them. I think that is an amazing skill, Eddie.
Is it? Okay, so I think if everyone forgot everything, is okay. Just think about ladder. That's all.
Yeah.
Ladder. What you need to do with the ladder. That's all. Okay, great. I think we had to hurry up our questions. Okay. Okay, so if time could be reserved, I make it a last question so I can give time to other people to ask questions.
Yeah, sure.
So Sylvan, you started out by saying you came from a very humble background and what bring you to where you are now. So if time could be reversed, what are the top 3 advice that you will give to the 25 years old Sylvan when she had just started her legal career?
Eddie, that is a very I'm not that far away from that reflection, but no, I'm just joking. Yes, I think, yes, 25 years old, that was a long time ago. I guess the easy one would be listen to your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, obviously, I think my first best advice from is my life mentor. My first life mentors are my parents. And listening to what my father said, that sentence I shared with you just now, really changed a lot of my perspective in life and how I take my career. So yes, definitely listen to your parents. And if you don't agree, usually it means that you have not paid enough attention. So listen more to your parents. And secondly, surely read more books. I think when I was single, no kids, and just working in law firm, I always complain about I have no time. I'm working too many hours, and I have no time for anything else in my life. But now I have time. Strangely, I have family, I have kids, and I have lots of work. But now, because the situation forces me that I need that knowledge that I am behind, I constantly feel behind in my knowledge level. So I have to read book. So I wish I've done a lot more than that of that when I was younger. I guess third maybe is I think getting to know more people. I think I do. I think building and leveraging relationship is something that you should start from very early in your career life. And I think a lot of people get a bit sensitive when we talk about this topic, especially female. I think female, we're very good in building relationship, and we like to take relationship to a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
When we need to leverage it, we are hesitant. We felt like, hey, I don't like to leverage relationship that I built for personal gain. I think that is something that we can think about a little bit more. We can debate about that. And in my career life, I've been very fortunate. Maybe that is the element of luck that we talk about as well. I have a lot of career mentors and life mentors along the way. And some mentors are mentors who we know each other, that you are my mentor, I'm your mentee. But they are mentors that they do not know that I see them as my mentor. It could, sometimes I just draw inferences, and I just absorb their advice from one sentence that they say to me. And I think those are important to start doing very early in your life, in your career. Being and surround yourself with very positive people also something that is very, very important. Because at time in your life, in your career, like last year with COVID, you could be in the basement. You could be in the basement, not knowing what to do, mentally strained, lots of negativity in the community, and you don't even realize that you are in basement. So the positive people, your friends, colleagues, family, support system will bring you up from the basement. I think then your recovery rate will be faster and you get back to work.
Very good advice. Yeah, I just want to touch on your first point, listen to parents.
Yeah.
That to me is a sense of obedience. And some people call it radical obedience. You're right, either at home or in an organization at work, if you do not have the sense of obedience, it's very hard for the leaders to make you a leader. Because I think being a leader, you need to be a follower first. You need to be a good follower, then only you can be a good leader. Yeah, so that's simple advice, but it's so profound. And start from listening to your parents.
Yeah, I don't mean it in a, you know, like when I say, sometimes I say but, and I don't say but I say but in a positive way. I think we're all intellectual adults. When you listen, you can digest. And the other observation is that we don't have to be binary. A lot of time I observe that we can be binary in our thought process. Right or wrong, black or white, straight or curvy. It doesn't have, the world is not like that. There are lots of things that, most of the things are in the middle. So I think be open-minded and listen, digest, whether you apply or not is another thing. But yeah, they have your best interest at heart, trust me. So they are trying to give you their best advice.
Yeah. Okay. If you have any questions, please do type on the chat box here. If you are on the Zoom platform, or if you are watching from Facebook Live, do leave your questions on the comment on our eLawyer page. Yeah, I understand the video could be live on my page, on my personal page, on the company page. So, but please do go to eLawyer Facebook page and leave your question there. So while giving our audience some time to think about questions, or to, you know, to rephrase their questions, can we do a group photo before we go into our Q&A? And well, I hope everyone could join us. If you are ready, you know, please do turn on your video. We want to see you. We're very happy to see you, connect with you. Now we are living in the virtual world, and seeing you will make us more connected. If you are ready, do turn on your video, and we can take a group photo. It'll be memorable for our event. Then only we go into our Q&A sessions. So, yep. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm making a gallery view. If you are ready, do turn on your video. Hi, good to see you guys.
Hi everyone. I think I can see some senior lawyers in the audience as well. Hi, Kang Sun.
Oh, hi, Dato' Mary. Thank you for joining us. It's good to have you here.
Hi, Dato' Mary. Hope you and family are well. Thank you for taking the time. And I see my team. Hi.
You see, it's so good to see everyone's faces.
Yes.
So nice. Okay, so if you are ready to turn on your video, let's take a group photo. then we will proceed to our 15 minutes Q&A sessions. I'm sure a lot of people will have some burning question to ask. Okay, so can we have Tasha to help us on the photo?
Okay, so I'm going to take the photo. Okay, in 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. Can we have a freestyle?
Freestyle.
Okay.
How free? Fish in the ocean. Just now, Xiufan say.
Okay, in 1, 2, 3. Okay, right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So now we come to our last session, which is Q&A. And you know, if you feel that you want to turn on your mic and ask questions directly, feel free to do so. Just address yourself. I mean, introduce yourself. Sorry, introduce yourself, and then you can ask questions. And if you want to leave a text to us on your questions, feel free to do so. Okay, Xiufan, maybe I post the first questions. Just now I heard a small detail about what you were saying, that you went around the mining field and you know, look at how they do things on ground. How important is that for a lawyer to understand to such a great detail of the business? How important is that helping our lawyers? Can you share with us?
I think, yeah, one simple word, ID, relevancy. You want to be relevant. I think that is something that this is in-house positions. There's really no value in providing academic advice. The business want practical legal solutions. How can they get it done, what they want to do, but yeah, legally. So why is it important? I think if I understand the entire processing of the mine, I no longer become an outsider. I am as good as I'm never as good as an engineer in terms of technical knowledge, but it does. I think there are a few things. Technical knowledge. When you go around the mine, you learn the language. I remember so vividly the first time I stepped onto the mining lease. I was walking around with a 62 years old, very passionate senior engineer, and he told me, "Be careful with the bobcat." I was like, "What is the bobcat?" And that, I think that language is very important. You want to speak their language because they are not going to speak your language. You're not going to go to work every day and say, what are the vice versa, herein after, herein below, herein above. They're not going to understand you. You need to speak their language. And it does shorten your working hours. I mean, if you're going to take anything from me, that is the one simple advice. Your workload will be so much less if you speak their language and speak like a real lay person. Yeah, so that is the technical knowledge and speak their language. And for me, I do miss those times very much because of COVID, I couldn't travel. And if I can travel, I am never on my chair. And I remember when I joined Schlumberger, the first week, the first 3 weeks, I think, I went into the Perth office. And that time we have about, say, 20 business managers who are my peers. taking care of 20 different businesses, and I was new to the company. Granted, I was then my 15 years lawyer, PQE, but I know nothing about oil and gas or technology. So I think the first 2 weeks, I took the initiative of sitting down with every business manager for an hour, try to keep bugging them, asking them to give me that hour to tell them what they do. Because after that, it's just so much simpler. Because everybody has a different pain points. Everyone want their contract done differently because it's a different nature of business and different legal issue. This person have employment law issue, this person doesn't have. So I think it's important to embed yourself in the business if you want to be in-house. And Eddie, I remember, see, I'm a fan of you. I remember one of the session that one of the webinar that you did, you say, what is LLB? LLB is the law, the language, and the business. And that is what LLB is. And the law and the language is what we acquire. And the business acumen is what we need to make us a good lawyer.
Well, yeah, very good listener. Amazing.
I'm a fan.
LLB. Yeah, we need to have two type of LLB. Another type of LLB is what you mentioned just now. Fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, I can resonate to that. That is the reason we call, people call in-house lawyer. Otherwise, they would just engage as a law firm to do their job. But in-house lawyer should be someone who really close to the business, understand the business, so that the advice provided will be very relevant to the business. Yeah, great. Okay, Sylvan, we had 2 questions here. Just now you mentioned, so this question is this. Just now you mentioned about joining a company which have high integrity as their value. How can we find out? So this audience asks, how can we find out whether the company has high integrity as their value?
Right. I think if it's a public company, you can go onto their website to read their policies, their code of conduct, whether they have an ethics policy, and to what extent it covers, right? And those are the basic homework that you can do. And I guess if it's a large company, newspaper is a good source of information. Google is another good source of information. You definitely will need to research the company that you're applying for. I'm sure that you do that. And interview. And if you are being called for interview, that means to a certain extent, they must, like I said before, they like you and they are interested in you. So that gives you a platform to ask the question. But I guess how you ask the question is the skill. You do not go on to hiring manager and say, hey, do you do funny things? No, no one is going to entertain that question positively. I mean, ask hey, what are your ethics and compliance policy? And think of an example, like, if this happened, and what sort of reporting channel you have in your company, and how many policies you have in terms of workplace harassment. How do you in terms of violation of certain regulations internally, do you have a robust compliance program? And the reporting channel, is it done independently, or is it done by someone sitting next to the potential wrongdoer? So these are the potential questions that you can ask to have what is it called, like a brief idea.
Okay, thank you. So do research on the company and see whether they get involved in any so-called unethical deals or any unnecessary litigations or prosecution suit. Yeah, that will help to find out. Thank you. So the other question is, so it is always a good thing be building your career on an international platform. Is it always a good thing to build your career on an international platform? if there is any downsides to it? What would you consider? Would you consider shifting from international platform to a local platform as something that would be not good or not preferred? So I guess this audience is asking, is it always right or good to start your career in an international platform? Yeah. Put the question in short. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thanks, Eddie. You know, I'm a believer of it really depends on what you want. I think there's no one solution to career. There's enough companies out there. There's enough good companies, big or small, and you only need you only need one job, and it doesn't have to be this one, right? That's what I always say. I think first of all, coming back to what do you want? I guess in the international company, in my observation, is the resources that they will have. The resources in terms of training, in terms of diversity, the opportunity for you to learn or to have the opportunity to learn and be exposed to a wide range of activities before you decide what you like. Yeah, so I think that is whether it's a large law firm or MNC or international platform. I think that is the strength, that is the advantage to start something wide and generic and big. And if you do not know what you want, but if you know, like I was born to be an intellectual property lawyer, I want to be an intellectual property lawyer, then go for it. And there's probably no point. Then then you probably want to specialize in that field and pursue that field, and you will do it happily. So I'm not sure whether I answered the questions. I think it really depends on what you want. In my personal experience, the international platform offer you a full range of things. It's like going into a candy store. You can start looking at, hey, what is available? Yeah, it's like me being a small fish swimming in a Great Barrier Reef. I'm so curious. I'm still swimming and I'm still looking. And as I go around in the candy store in Great Barrier Reef, I'm enjoying the journey. I guess that's what I'm doing.
Thank you. Another question is, hi, Siu-Fan. I'm sure you and your HR receive lots of CV for vacancy. What advice can you provide just to get to the interview door to begin with?
Yeah. No, I think that's a very good question. In fact, I struggle sometimes with screening through all the resumes, but with Eddie helps, it saved me a lot of time. So yes, I think make your resume impactful and simple. I hate to tell you, I don't go past the second page. Yes, I think concise, no spelling mistake, please. And be easy for the audience, for the reader. And I think you really need to understand the role that you're applying to. I think most of the time a cover letter helps to persuade the HR or the hiring manager why your skill and qualification and experience will fit the positions well. Yeah, so do a little bit of explanation, because the CV will just, I guess it will be on a factual basis of what you have done, where have you been studying, and what are your projects, right? But the letter, a half a page letter, is opportunity to differentiate yourself than the rest of the, I don't know, 500 resumes. But keep it simple, please. Yeah, I think simple is important.
Yeah, just to add on, always during my webinar, I'll say, don't write something already people can find it in your CV. Write something that you want to tell, and people may not be able to see it in your CV. Yeah, that's the purpose of writing a cover letter. No point you copy and put it there and summarize in your cover letter. No point. Okay, great. So if someone is not from oil and gas experience background, would you even consider the candidates? Meaning someone who is not from the same industry who apply to you?
Definitely, they called me. So Eddie, I say definitely because they called me.
They caught your
They called me.
attention.
No, they call me.
Or they
I
call
was
you.
hired. No, I mean like.
Oh, you was hired.
I was
because
hired.
even though you wasn't from the same background.
Yes,
Okay.
I had zero oil and gas industry experience, and I was called, but I guess it was a unique circumstances where they were looking for someone who has mining experience. I went through, I don't know, 5 rounds of interviews maybe, and I guess towards the end, later on, my hiring manager become my manager and become my mentor, my friend. Well, he says that what attracted him, I mean, the reason why he hired me was no longer because of the technical knowledge, was not about the legal knowledge. Anyway, he's a business manager. He probably doesn't know how to test my legal knowledge anyway. So it was my attitude. It was my attitude. It was my soft skill. It was how I was able to persuade him that I would be a high potential person for the organization, that I have the growth mindset, that I will continue to learn. When I do not have most of the time I might not have the answer, but I will know where to find the answer.
Yeah, exactly. So we always say attitude, attitude, attitude. We hire attitude, not only ability, but we hire attitude.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a very good question here. It came from Douglas. So Douglas say, hi, first of all, thanks for the insightful webinar. Is it a misconception to think that practicing in a bigger size firm will make you stand out more when searching for a job? So this question he addressed to me and you. Okay, Sylvan, you go first.
This is a negative. This is a lawyer. Is this a misconception? Means negative to think that practicing in a bigger size law firm would make you stand out more. So
Yeah.
is it a misconception? So I guess Douglas is saying that if you work in a big law firm, the chances is higher.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Is it correct?
I think yes or no. I'm going to give
okay,
a lawyer
okay,
answer.
typical lawyer answer.
Depends,
Yes or no. Okay, depends.
I think it depends on the
answer.
training, because you could be in it's not so much of the size of the law firm or the name of the law firm. It's about that person having gone through that work experience, how much that person could have absorbed the training, knowledge, and skill to become the person today. Because if I interview someone who comes from a smaller law firm, maybe the general assumptions that maybe the smaller law firm will have a smaller library, but it's an assumption. I don't do assumption a lot. I would usually ask the question. I'm not, as you can know now, I don't make a lot of assumption. But that's a general assumption. But if the person turn out at the interview having excellent attitude, having excellent knowledge, having excellent ambition, having excellent energy, then I guess that was the past. Yeah, but also it can be very dangerous that, I mean, if again, based on the generalized assumption that if you've gone to a big law firm, then the general assumption that they will have a bigger library and therefore more resources and more mentorship happening and more systematic training opportunities, and you turn up at my interview not being able to tell what does somebody do, I think I will be left with a bigger disappointment. Does that, Eddie, I need your help.
Well, I mean, to be very honest, to to a certain extent, branding do help. In the first so-called first surface impressions. And why do I say that? Because different size of firm or different type of firms would specialize in different type of work and will have opportunity to be exposed to different complexity of work. So if I see a resume that someone came from a bigger firm, like you say, general assumption could be this person would have exposure to certain complexity of work. This person, by the fact that this person is being hired in a bigger firm, meaning he could be more competitive, because you know bigger firm would get CV, like they even tell me a few hundreds per month CV go to them, and you know they will select people stringently, all these things. So the first impression could be, okay, this guy could be more competitive, could be, yeah, assumption. But like I say, this is not all it is. The core to it is what you have said, how this person do in the interview, and what is the quality, what is the value that the person can bring to this company. So it doesn't matter about, so in that sense, branding is secondary. Yeah, so yes and no. Yes, I agree with you. I go by the legal
I think that's
training,
a very
yes and
honest.
no.
Yeah, I think that's a very honest answer, and I have to agree with that, Eddie. Yep.
Yeah, yes and no. Yeah, and now the question is, if I do not have the so-called opportunity to work in a bigger firm, and how could I outdo or outshine other people from bigger firm when fighting for a rare positions? So I think Sylvain have provided a very good tips just now. Display your uniqueness or your experience on your cover letter. So I think we as a hiring manager, when we look at a CV, okay, so, but when we look at the cover letter, wow, this guy, I must see him, even though, you know, from Malacca firm, sorry.
Hey,
small place firm.
Actually, yes, I think these big firm, small firm perceptions, I had to correct it. I mean, I can speak, I can speak on that from personal experience. I have been in large Malaysian firms. I have been, I have been in the largest Malaysian firm. I was in a Malacca firm, but they are famous from Johor to Malacca, not just Malacca work. And I have been in an Australian law firm. And I don't think it is just the size that all matters. Yeah. And sometimes you could be in a law firm. I think I was, again, I was fortunate that everywhere I go to, I was likable enough that there's always someone who was able, willing, and ready to pull me up and you know, help me and to give me the guidance, right? But when we talk about partner of the law firm, I think you can find some very good partner who are passionate about grooming people in any sizes of the firm. And in fact, maybe in a with a closer, like a close-knitted law firm, they will even have more time and get to know you on a personal basis, and they can give you a better coaching.
Okay, thank you. So this is our last questions to wrap up our sessions. This question is quite personal, but I think it would be very helpful if we could answer it for this participant. So the question goes, most in-house legal counsel requires at least candidate admitted to the bar. What's your career advice for someone in 30s who was a paralegal in law firm for 8 years but only completed LLB recently. Should the person continue sitting for CLP, or despite not admitted to bar, have higher hiring chances? So meaning, I think this person is asking, after 8 years as a paralegal in law firm, should this person go for CLP and get admitted and then only go in-house, or this person could apply in-house, as soon as he got the LLB, the degree?
Right. I guess it depends on, so I guess you're at this point, right? If you can see my hand, you're at this point, you are thinking about getting to that point, and you're considering at least, and you know that there are multiple steps that you need to take to get you to that point, but you're considering whether to take that steps. So you are being static. So my thinking is that, I don't know, just thinking out loud, as personally, I don't generally practice being static. I either take the steps to get to where I want to get to, or I change direction. Because I think the answers is in your questions. For Eddie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because you stated yourself in your questions that for you to be in an in-house position, you have a strong belief that you needed to be admitted to the bar, and you are qualified and eligible to be admitted to the bar. And I guess the hurdle is doing the CLP. So what is preventing you from taking the challenge?
Yeah, if I were the person, I'm just speaking from my personal thought. I agree with you. Just do it. Just do it where it will put you in a better position, more competitive. If I receive 2 resumes, one has admitted to the bar, one is not. Let's say apple to apple. Of course, the one that had called to the bar will have certain experience that someone may not have. So we are talking about apple to apple kind of things. Yeah. So and you are in your 30s, and recently I know someone in their 70s or 60s called to the bar. So I think
30. I didn't pick up the 30s because I thought the 30 is a very young age. Why was that a concern? I don't think age should be a thing here. I mean, yes, maybe a little bit too romantic on my side, but it shouldn't be a deterrent for you to do the CLP or to get admitted to the bar. And you never know. I mean, sometimes maybe after taking the step, then you met someone at CLP, your lecturer, a new mentor who give you a new perspective, and you might change. But rather than sitting here thinking about it, the steps.
Okay, I think the most romantic person in our country is Dr. Emma, being Prime Minister in 90s again. So never too late to have a romantic dreams. Thank you so much, Silvans. We really benefit a lot from you, and are very appreciative of your very open, genuine, and very good insight to our audience today. And thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. And we hope to see you again in our next eLawyer Career and Legal Business Talk series. Good night.
Thanks, Eddie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.